Thank you, Chairman. I thank our witnesses for being here today. Before I dive into some specific lines of inquiry, I want to embrace Mr. Lincecum's message, which is we need more trade relations with more partners around the world, whether those are bilateral or multilateral or plurilateral agreements is less important to me at this point than the fact that we're striking more agreements, because other countries are as well. Much of my recent work in Congress has been as it relates to supply chain resiliency and what we're calling economic security, which of course has a direct impact on our national security. And it's lost, it seems, on certain members of this administration, as well as some in my own party, that we compete with adversaries. But the other side of it is we need to cooperate with friends and allies. Part of that cooperation is just coordination of critical inputs, but it's also by establishing free trade relations. It makes us more resilient when there are supply chain interruptions. Moving on, GSP renewal is something I'd like to dive into. It's critical for companies in my state of Indiana. They have paid over $60 million in extra tariffs since the program lapsed. The competitive need limits, or CNLs, which are built-in thresholds that trigger the removal of a product from GSP, need fixing. I was glad to see the House Ways and Means Committee pass some improvements. However, I'd like us to go further. From specialty woods used by the RV industry, travel goods, or industrial components used by Hoosier manufacturers, current CNLs eliminate duty-free treatment for products that have proven to be the most beneficial under GSP. It doesn't make sense. Renewing GSP should be a common sense objective with an opportunity to enhance the program's effectiveness and help incentivize supply chain shifts away from China. Ms. Nelson, would higher CNL thresholds help ensure that Sanmar can keep using GSP in the future?
Thank you so much for the question. And let me note that we have 1,400 customer businesses in Indiana who are relying on us to use GSP, to use these other trade programs. The main issue is speed of renewal. So in terms of changes to the program, from our perspective, the program was working until it stopped. And it did pull us from China. It did bring us to the Philippines and to Indonesia, to Myanmar. It is allowing us to export American values. And just renew it, please.
Okay. All right. I've internalized the urgency to get that done.
Thank you.
On behalf of those Hoosier businesses as well. Mr. Lincecum, if you could just very briefly discuss more broadly how artificial caps, like CNLs, competitive need limits, limit the usefulness of GSP both as a development tool and for the beneficiaries.
Of course. But first, Senator, let me say, using the term plurilateral, you're officially a trade geek. Welcome to the club. More seriously, a CNL limit effectively says to a company or a country, you've gotten too good at making stuff, so we're gonna cut you off. So that, like you said, it really makes no sense. We should be encouraging companies in these places to become more efficient, to not only for their own benefit, for the benefit of American manufacturers, American consumers here as well. So yes, I agree with you. I mean, personally, I would get rid of the CNL altogether, but we should at least be raising that threshold so that as companies mature, they continue to benefit from the program just as it's supposed to do.
Thank you so much.